Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. So there's a word that I love that it's been going around for quite a while. It's called progress, right? And just to give you a little bit of context, the last 200 years, we have managed to reduce poverty by 92%. But it has come at a greater cost, right? From those 200 years, the very last 50 years, we have produced a carbon footprint of over 58%. And we have reduced the living species in our planet by 57%, right? So it's not enough just about thinking about recycling. It's a bit more. And it's about partnering with corporations, with startups, with the society, with governments, not just to revert the effect of what we have done in the last 200 years, right? But to regenerate what's keeping us alive for the next 100 and 200 and 300 years. And this is something that we call eco-innovation. Right now, the eco-innovation ecosystem is valued at over 18 trillion euros for 2030, right? And it is up to us, doers, to make eco-innovation worth for everybody, right? And as Elinor Ostrom said, is how do we manage to grow for everybody with what it's from everybody, right? So today we are in the company of people that are accustomed of doing, not just saying, because at Unlimited Spain we say that it's better to do it than to say it, right? And today, well, we have Patricia Strain from Recircular, and then we have Dani from AgroSingularity, and then we have Francesc from Incapto, and then we have Helen from Recover. So thank you very much, guys, for being with us. Okay. My first question is going to be addressed to Patricia. Patricia is one of the founders that have participated in Unlimited Spain's acceleration programs. And congratulations, because you have been nominated the winner of our latest program, so congratulations.
Thanks.
And for you that don't know what Patricia does, is she's the first marketplace to give second life to waste in Spain. But right now, I think you're the best one to talk about what you do. And there's something that's happening right now in Spain. It's called a new program called Circular Spain, that it's aiming to reduce 15% of the waste that is being generated here. So why don't you tell us how do you work with this, and how do you manage to do this, and where are we now as a country, as a society right now?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks very much for having me here. As Gabo said, I am Patricia Astran. I'm the founder of Recircular, and we are a digital platform that helps companies identify new ways of giving life, or a second life, to the resources, as we call it. We work with waste, with secondary materials that they have, byproducts, excess materials, anything that may not have the best end of life, and we help them to give them a second life. Our objective is to help them generate economic savings and environmental and social benefits. So we work on a triple bottom line, and for us it's very important that companies understand that this is possible. It's possible to work on the environmental, social, and economic benefits at the same time. So how we do it? Well, it's not easy, definitely. We've been doing it for a while, for some time, and here are specific examples of how we do it. But our objective is, with our platform, to be able to give those resources visibility, so that any company, no matter how small it is, they may have a circular solution and a possibility to join the circular revolution that we are trying to implement generally, right? So first, we need a place where companies can publish and show what they have, no matter if it's 1 kilo of aluminum or 1,000 tons, or an equipment that they don't use anymore, or a pipe that they once thought they would need and they don't need anymore, right? So a place where they can show what they have, and our algorithm connects that waste with opportunities that there are of reuse and recycling, and with other companies that can use that as raw materials, so that they can substitute their need for virgin raw materials. And when we call it when love happens, like when in Tinder, for example, or in other apps, right? We promote these transactions to be closed within our system so that we are able to measure and calculate the exact environmental and social benefits generated through these solutions, so that companies know as well what is the value that they generate when they are worried or when they work with us, so that they really work with giving waste a second life. So that's one of our main objectives. And where we are at now, well, it's improving, obviously. We are going in the right direction, right? We have more support from institutions. Circular economy is everywhere, right, right now. But we obviously need to go much, much, much farther. So I really think we are at the start, and there is so much more to go.
And to going much further, which is the way we go? Because I see two sides of this, is funding and consciousness, which is?
And the third one, regulation.
Regulation.
We need the three of them to work together. And when we talk about waste, regulation is a very important point as well, that needs to evolve so that this secondary raw materials market really can, really explode, like really work. And that needs to come together. Consciousness, obviously, all of us here work in that area as well. We need companies to get involved, and for that, they need examples as well. And that's why we are working here, to give examples and to prove and to show that this is possible and that other companies are doing it. And for that, we need brave companies, whether big, small, startups, all of them, to work together to implement these kind of solutions and prove that it's possible to give, in our case, waste a second life, but to implement different circular economy strategies to start a real transition.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Danny?
Yep.
Giving second circular life, or creating circular design for food waste.
Yeah. Okay, first of all, it's a good pleasure to be here today, because over the years we are attendee, today I am a speaker. And okay, AgroSingularity is a food tech company. We are producing food ingredients for the food industry. When I start to think about the bigger problem we have in the humanity, the top one is the food safety. And we start to research in the value chain what are doing the companies or the people for integrating the economy, the circular economy, the new food tech, proteins, blah, 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 blah. And we conclude that in the end of the value chain, very close to the retailer, to the supermarket, to the consumer, have very clever solutions, but any company is thinking about in the beginning of the value chain, in the process, in the beginning, where the growers are producing the fresh food, or the candy industry is producing his product. And okay, at the end, AgroSingularity is producing food ingredients for the food industry, like flavors, like color, and are using the byproducts is in the origin of the product, in the growers, the farmers or the candy industry. And the first stage of the company was, okay, we got the ability to transform these losses in value-added ingredients. And today the company is investing in the L&D area for produce solution for the food industry. Solution like, for example, to remove the artificial additives we have in our food, or producing like new types of fibers. It's very useful for all of the food industry, but in a natural value chain. It's the complete company today, and it's the first step of the company. I think in a global network producing in local the byproducts in natural ingredients. And today we are producing here in Spain and serving in 5 countries in Europe. And the customer is taking the value to have a new supplier with the actual crisis of the supply chain, China, coronavirus, here in Europe now. And I think in the following 5 years, it's possible to become a global player. producing in origin Latam, for example, or Africa, and selling in local markets.
How do you manage supply of your raw materials? For example, you told me a history about broccoli, about how producers and retailers were cutting off a part of the broccoli and they just were ditching it into the bin. So
yeah, the company, the headquarters is in Murcia. Murcia is a very small region here in Spain, but it's producing the 12% of fresh broccoli selling in the world, and all of the broccoli is cut in the tail, and its value is losing to the, for example, to the cows or the pigs for feed the animal now. But for example, if we transform the tail in an ingredient, we have a new preservant for the bakery industry. It's possible to extend the shelf life of the bread with natural ingredients. For example, at the end, the company is doing a hard thing. We need to ensure the supply of the raw material is losing, and we need to ensure the security of the raw material, because it's food, and we need to use for the food.
Okay, and about cost-wise, in repercussion to the end consumer, is it feasible for?
It's possible to fix the price because, okay, when the ingredient is supplying from China, all is cheaper. But in the actual crisis, no, it's in fact, because if you add the cost of the ships, you add the cost of the time, you add the cost of the broken supply chain, it's the same price. You have our customer is very comfortable working with us because it's possible to manage the level of stock in the facilities with us.
Perfect. Yeah, because it's vital to food security.
Yeah,
the cost.
It's about the food security and the food safety.
Thank you. Helen, hi.
Hi.
So Recover, and I know that this is one of the bad guys of the circular economy, the fashion industry. And there's a lot to do on the fashion industry because if you take a look at the whole value chain process, up until 15 years ago, we only understood how materials and raw materials got into the process, got processed, and then got sold. But now if we take into account the new point of view of the circular economy, that goes way beyond just the main activity of the companies. So why don't you tell us about what you do for our planet?
Right. I'm Hélène. I'm the Chief Sustainability Officer at Recover. And as you were talking about consciousness before, I think that it's a really good point because any collective transformation starts with a personal transformation and a personal consciousness. And for me, that was, I think, around 12 years ago, where I was working in sustainability. I had to be doing a project, and I was in a textile sorting plant. I don't know if any of you have been to a textile sorting plant. This is where the clothes end up when you donate them. And it's just walls and walls and walls and mountains of, stacked bales of textiles. And, I realized there's not really any solution yet for this. I mean, we are reusing part of that, but for a big part, there are not really any good recycling solutions. Still less than 1% of that is being recycled back into new clothes. And kind of realizing that became sort of my personal mission to change that. And quickly found Recover because I was happy because Recover is a recycler, a mechanical recycler, and what they do is they transform textile waste into new fibers that can be then used again for new products, new garments. It's a Spanish family company, over 70 years old, so they started to do the recycling back in the day when there were just a lack of natural resources. It was a necessity to do it, just like it's becoming more and more a necessity to start doing it again. And I was really happy to join them on the journey, but it's only in the recent years that we really started scaling. We've just opened new plants in Bangladesh and Pakistan, and we see also the demand of the industry, because I think that brands and retailers can only put out sustainable products if they have the sustainable materials. So we are really the ones to help create a sustainable alternative for conventional virgin cotton. And we are working with the players like Primark and CNA and Inditex because, yes, they might be working in fast fashion, but at the same time, if we want to scale the circular economy, these are also the players that we're going to need to do that. So that's really exciting, and as well to maybe share some exciting news that just came out yesterday is that Recover secured an investment of $100 million into the company by Goldman Sachs. So it's also allowing us to, towards 2026, scale our capacity to 350,000 metric tons of recycling capacity. Still, this is a drop in the ocean compared to virgin cotton, but it's a great start, and we're really proud of that. But you say also circularity is not just about recycling. So we are an important part where at the end we transform the material back into a new material, but there's also business models, there's design, all of these things, especially in fashion, need to come together to make sure that we achieve the circularity, because with just recycling, that's not circularity. So, and echoing what you were just saying in terms of collaboration, we have the technology, we have our proprietary process, that's great, but we cannot achieve that systems transformation alone. So we are part of, European projects, part of helping to support, the European legislation that is now finally coming, which is really great to push also the textiles industry towards more circularity. And we need to do that, both of that. So being part of pre-competitive collaboration, we are collaborating with our competitors, but we both need the same systems. We need the same mindset change. We need all of that to be there to be able to scale what we are doing. So,
and congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a huge milestone in the history of Recover. And yeah, one of the key facts of circular economy is the funding. And we just signed the Paris agreements a couple of months ago. And most of the investment should be done, people say, only in CapEx or in technology, whatever puts technology in the service of planet and people. But I think what you're sharing with us today is also about purpose, right?
Sure.
So how's Recover taking this purpose into 50 years into the future?
Oof. Well, of course, if I also, the current CEO is still also the son of the family company. So if there's anything about purpose that is kind of ingrained into the company, that's definitely the case. And, as Recover grows so rapidly, I think for me as a sustainability officer, for me, it's very important that we do that in a very responsible way. So circularity always also should go hand in hand with social responsibility, and kind of environmental justice, social justice need to be connected. And that's really something, especially being in areas like Bangladesh, Pakistan, Vietnam, something that we really need to take care. So that's a big part of my focus. But at the same time, growing and scaling the post-consumer recycling is really my kind of holy grail that I would like to kind of achieve. Currently still, the biggest majority of our feedstock that we use is post-industrial waste. This is the waste that is from the garment manufacturing. And this is already great, because otherwise it will go to landfill, and we're using that. But the big challenge is post-consumer. This is difficult. Otherwise, we would do it already. We do also need CapEx investments in other technologies, exactly, infrastructure, because there is a big technology gap still, and a capacity gap. Yeah, we are working on it. So hopefully, in the next few years, we get to see, that we can go maybe to half of our feedstock coming from post-consumer. That would be amazing, and that's really something that we would like to achieve in the...
So if you want to recover waste and resell it, I think Patricia has something to say over there.
I was going to tell her, we have some post-consumer waste in our platform, so really happy to share that with you.
Exactly. So Helene mentioned about community and social, and Francesca, I think there is something there that you want to share with us within Capto Coffee, because I know for a fact from Mexico, it used to be a country where coffee production was huge. Now it's been undermined, and the social effect it has gotten has affected people over there. But why don't you share with us on your own eyes and your experience?
Well, thank you very much for inviting us. Well, first of all, what we try to do in Capto is changing the way coffee industry works. First of all, by avoiding coffee pots, because it's something that we don't need to enjoy a good coffee. And we try to impact in all the value chain, starting from the coffee farmers. We try to collaborate with them. We try to help them improve their coffee experience so that they can sell, they can produce coffee without toxics, and they can jump to specialty coffee, and we can pay more for their coffee so that they run from poverty. 60% more or less of the coffee farmers are in poverty or extreme poverty, and they are leaving their lands because they can live with that. So we help them improve their experience, their product, and we buy them much more expensive than most of the companies so that they can improve what they do every year. And this is the beginning. But then we also want to change not also how coffee producers or coffee farmers can work and live in a better condition, but also how all of us consume coffee. That's why we are trying to explain everybody that there are other ways of consuming coffee that are better in terms of experience. With coffee beans and fully automatic machines, you have a convenience experience such as coffee pots, and you don't generate a single-use plastic. Okay, and by manufacturing machines here in Spain, such as you said, we started manufacturing our fully automatic machines in China, and now we are starting here. And we try these machines to be really with an index of repairability very high so that they can live forever. I don't know if forever, but for a long time. And so we try to impact in, excuse me, in all the value chain of the industry. And in terms of circular economy, we do a project with a mushroom farm next to Barcelona, and we send them all the coffee grounds that we pick. Yeah, that we pick from companies. We send them these coffee grounds, and they mix and they feed the mushrooms so that they can send these organic mushrooms to all of Europe.
And when was the turning point where you started to see that you could generate social wealth? Because what you're doing, that's the only concept that comes into my mind, that you're generating social wealth because you are acquiring your machinery from Spain, you are impacting local producers, you are serving more certainly better coffee than we're served at any given cafeteria. But how are you creating this social wealth, and how are you aiming to keep the flywheel going over the years?
Well, to be honest, when we started this project 2 years ago, actually it was 2 years since we were in the market, our objective was to offer a better coffee experience with coffee beans, specialty coffee beans, and fully automatic machines. And we wanted to say, okay, the era of coffee pots is over. This was our objective, and we said, okay, we can reduce a lot of waste in terms of plastics and aluminum. But when we saw what was happening in the coffee industry, I mean, it's a drama. I mean, when how they treat coffee farmers, and we realized that we could help them all, how they don't do anything with waste of coffee, and we started to collaborate with many companies from clothes. For instance, here in Spain, there is EcoAlf. They produce T-shirts with coffee. And at the end, we ended with this mushroom farm. But, well, there are a lot of potential usages from coffee grounds, for instance, in food industry, we were talking before. And, well, we are trying to impact at each part of the value chain, and I would say that's all, because it is a very, as I said, it's a drama, the coffee industry, in terms of pollution, and there is a lot to do. And I think that all of us should consider how we consume coffee in our homes, in our offices. For instance, in offices, we say buy vending, buy capsules, and we bring with electrical cars the coffee to them, and we pick the waste of the coffee grounds. And we try to do all the circular process in this case. And, well,
Thank you very much. Guys, any final remarks? We have a couple of minutes left. Do you want to add something? No? So you see how little by little, us doers can change the world, can change people, can change lives, and can change consciousness around, at least to create a better world for everybody. Thank you very much, guys, for being here. Hélène, Patty, Francesc, Danny, it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.